So today, Miles and Valentina will talk to us about an exercise that we are quite familiar with at QP, but can be quite daunting, and that probably most of the management teams and entrepreneurs we're going to work with have never had to go through before. So today we're going to talk about due diligence. Miles, can you tell us a little bit about what due diligence consists of and summarize the type of DDs that we come across?
Definitely. So I suppose a lot of the question is, why do we need to do due diligence? And I suppose, that's a very important question. I think a big part of it is that, we need to, as institutional investors, verify all the information that we've been shared over a period of time. And it's important to also remember that we're kind of outsiders looking in. And we've only had a few weeks maybe with the business. And we need time to get up to the speed, whereas management team or founders might have been in that business for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And we need to really understand that history. But I think it's also a great opportunity to kind of set everybody up for success and find some kind of quick wins when we really get on the same side of the table after the transaction is done.
And can you tell us what type of due diligence we typically go across when working with management teams?
Definitely. So kind of boils down into some key areas that we typically touch upon. So one is financial due diligence, and that's really just looking at the numbers in more detail, making sure it's on the page. Is properly what's there, but then also going deeper and potentially thinking about, what KPI should we be looking at as a business, and what KPI should we be looking at together. And the second one that's also very critical is what we call commercial due diligence. So really understanding where, our business is positioned in the market, what opportunities are there looking forward, and how can we position ourselves best again moving forward. And then beyond those two, we have what's called confirmatory due diligence. And that's your legal due diligence, your insurance due diligence, and then also sometimes your tech due diligence.
Thanks, Miles. Hearing about it, it can seem to be like a lot of work, but Valentina, can you tell us a little bit how QP tend to approach this process and this exercise?
Like you both mentioned, it can be quite a daunting exercise, but what we really at QP try to do is work with management teams. So work very closely with them to, one, plan this diligence period and what kind of diligence exercises there will be. So management teams understand why we're doing it, but it's also beneficial for them and for us as investors. Where we really see that diligence can add value is in some of the more exciting streams. So for example, in commercial due diligence, we carry out what we call a customer referencing exercise. So we'll speak to some of your key clients, not saying that we're going to do a transaction or anything, or you're going to receive investment, but really on the basis that, we want to see how we can do better. So from that, some of the weaknesses and strengths of the businesses will come out, and that really helps drive the strategy going forward. Another diligence exercise that not everyone does, but that is actually really helpful, and we found very helpful in the deals that we've done so far, is management diligence. So we call this diligence, but it's really, we hire an expert to get to know the management teams and really get to know where they're strong, where what are their styles of working, how do they prefer to communicate, and equally, where do they need reinforcements? So this can really help when we're hiring other people. So for example, a chairman, or I don't know if there's a need for a CFO, what kind of characteristics does these people need to have to complement the management team?
And I suppose maybe just to add on to what Val's saying, I think is, when people think about due diligence, it's a process we need to go through to get this across the line. And then when it's done, we'll be in a position to go and grow again. But I think another important thing to remember is that typically you don't go through this exercise every day. It's definitely not happening every year. So there's opportunity to get some great reports from sector specialists, the advisors that we'll use throughout this process and diligence, are things that really only happen every so often. So getting a great market commercial report is incredibly helpful and can allow sometimes management teams and founders that opportunity to take a step back, look at their business holistically from the top down again, as opposed to being in it every day and trying to grow it every day. So you oftentimes can pick out some quick wins, or maybe some insights that maybe you wouldn't have known before, because you aren't given that opportunity. So it's can be kind of exciting in addition to being a little bit intense.
Maybe Valentina, if you want to give us a few kind of example or feedback that we got from management teams after due diligence, that would be helpful.
Yeah, so really the management teams go through this diligence exercise, and whilst it might be a bit painful during it, the reports that come out of it, like Miles said, are really helpful. And we've known management teams that have actually taken the report to pitches. So to show clients, well, actually look at our Net Promoter Score, NPS score is of this much, and this is why customers customer value us, and that's why you should use us, or you should use our services.
Management diligence might sound a little bit scary. We're not poking and prodding our management teams or making tests necessarily, but it really is about, we're taking businesses on accelerated growth journeys. So obviously there's things that we can work on now and maybe help the management team and augment the management team kind of coming into the initial investment. But then also, we're potentially on a long journey together. So kind of having that base and thinking about where we need to take the business and maybe how we can help augment the management team over that period of time, as opposed to how we can help just today.
So it's not an exercise where we will bombard management team with questions and do a no date of sort, but it's more around how we can, from day one, get insights on how to grow the business and improve in, probably weaker part of the business and play on the strengths of the business. Do you agree?
No, exactly.
Definitely, good summary.